All right. So thank you very much for attending. We have a couple of requirements that we're going to go over, and please ask questions at any point. You can go ahead and stop us and ask, no problem. So I'm Shannon Thiessen, and I'm the Computer Science Program Supervisor, and I'm
Lancer here.
And then Barbara Suits is joining us to talk a little bit about our computer science OER that we're hoping to get some more content for through this. So I'll go ahead and start. We gave out 21 grants, and so there's a lot of people across the state in different regions. We'll talk about those grant recipients. We'll talk about some of the standards, the support through EdTech, CTE, and then our OER resources. We'll talk about match documentation and then the evaluations. And so there'll be a baseline, midterm, and final, and then answer any questions that you may have. All right. So I have sent out a couple forms. I've sent out the private matching template. You guys should have the bulletin on the grant and then the guidelines that were an attachment. One of the fiscal files that they'll is in grant management. And if you have any kind of questions about the categories for reporting in that, that's a good resource for you. We also have some guidelines, which I'm going to send out after this meeting, just to give you an idea of what kind of a report and what were the requirements on that report. So here's a list of the grant recipients. We are trying to, I'm trying to get a press release out, still in the process. Of these, a couple of them, the AESD, they're going to be helping support all of the grantees. So if you're in that region, there will be some computer science activities through your local ESD. There's also First Robotics will be offering some computer science content on how to teach computer science through robotics. So those will be two things that you should be able to work with your ESD on support. So Barbara.
Hey everybody, good morning. Barbara Suits here. I am the Open Educational Resources and Instructional Materials Program Manager here at OSPI. First of all, congratulations on receiving the Computer Science Grant. That's wonderful news. So I know Shannon's going to give you a lot of logistics and important details about the grant requirements, and I'm just going to throw on one more. This one is regarding open licensing and distribution of any instructional materials that happen to be deliverables as part of your grant. And I know this does not apply to everyone. It is going to be specifically for those folks that are in fact creating any instructional materials documents. So two questions probably come to mind here. What does that mean and why are we doing this? So putting an open license on your work basically turns it into an open educational resource, or OER. And I know a lot of you are already familiar with open resources, and a few of you are already leaning into them for some of your work. So basically the license bakes in permission to reuse, to adapt, to tailor to another user's needs, and to redistribute the material, as long as they provide attribution, giving credit to the creator of the work. So we're doing this for a couple of reasons. first of all, OSPI has historically given away a lot of funds through grants, and great work has been done by districts and their collaborators. However, often that work just ends up staying in the district or the building where it originated, and it gets lost as the grant work finishes and people move on. By adding an open license, we are allowing the work to be distributed widely beyond the boundaries of the individual grant recipient, and it can be continually revisited and revised, living on beyond the life of the grant. We are providing a platform for you guys to either link to your work if it's publicly accessible, or to add your work, and that's our OER Commons hub. We have a computer science OER group, and I'm not going to go into details about how you sign up and get your materials loaded. You can forward, Shannon. This is basically just an introduction to myself, and to let you know I'm a resource to provide information on how to make that happen. I've also linked to a bunch of different documents that will give you some guidance on creating openly licensed work and providing proper attribution. Again, know that this is just a super quick overview and really just an invitation to further discussion. I am happy to work with all of you guys offline in order to make sure that your work is openly licensed and distributable. Any questions for me? I know that was just a quick fire hose overview. All right, well, thank you. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate that. And so you guys know too, Barbara has offered to hold a session for us. And so what we'll do is we'll schedule an OER session for those people in their grants who are developing materials, and I'll send out some information on that as soon as we get everything together. So thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you being here.
You bet. Bye, everybody.
Bye. The next slide is going to go over the CTE connections, and we have Lance here.
Good morning. So just wanted to share some basic information in regards to your computer grants for any of you that are developing coursework, with a reminder that if you're considering CTE enhanced funding to support your program or grow your program, we have 2 SIP codes that are used for approved frameworks in CTE. The 110701 is for all introductory and or junior high courses. So if you're doing junior high programs, you can claim enhanced funding as long as you meet the STEM requirements. So the law that was passed in 2012 requires all junior high programs to be grade specific standards. So you want to be using those junior high standards of our computer science standards, and that they meet STEM focus in their applications. For those that are doing continuing and advanced courses such as AP, you'd want to approve for framework approvals on those under SIP code 110201 for all AP and other than introductory courses. So again, it's not required that your courses be CTE. It's just an opportunity for enhanced funding if they are approved and you have an appropriately certified instructor teaching those courses. It can also be taught under basic ed, and the district assumes it as part of their basic ed funding. Again, if looking at CTE as an option, remember that we are looking for use of the current computer science standards and grade specific, especially for the junior high programs and the high school and AP. Also want to make sure that you know that our ed tech standards have been revised last year, so we'd want to be updating those for if you've got existing frameworks. You'd want to be updating your ed tech standards if you used any of those. And then also the other thing that I forgot to mention during yesterday's webinar is that also your computer science courses can be used for math science equivalencies. My challenge as I go back to my business and marketing pathway position is that I saw a lot of frameworks come through that were marked local equivalencies, which meant they'd made a determination locally to offer math and or science equivalents. and a very limited number of math science standards. So that's not my call in my position in CTE to say those need to be included, but I would be challenged and concerned about the auditor coming in if you're offering a math credit and you have limited math standards in your computer science application and then calling it a math equivalency. So just a couple of reminders there that make sure you're using current standards inclusive of if you're using equivalencies, and that we have some state-approved equivalency frameworks already if you're teaching at that level, and be happy to share those. So again, 110-701 for all introductory and/or junior high programs as an exploratory course, 110-201 for all AP and advanced or other courses than introductory. Happy to answer any specific questions if you have them now, or my contact information is in the slide deck. So Shannon will be sharing that and you'll have access to that if you need to get a hold of
Okay, wow. You're doing a really good job. No questions. All right, thank you.
it. And I'm
Anna.
going to excuse myself and head back downstairs and get some more work done. So
All right,
thanks
you.
folks for attending today. And if we can give any help, be sure to holler.
All right,
Thanks,
you.
Shannon.
So one of the requirements on the grant is through the proviso. It requires with a one-to-one match, and you guys all have to provide that in your application. So the next part of that is that I have to document that there's a match, and that has to be done before any claim can be paid. It's challenging as in our system has no way to do any kind of tracking on this. So we've developed a system that seems to work right now between me and Fiscal. What we're asking for is that you document when you receive your match. I did send out this Excel document. I'll be sending it out again. And what we're asking is that you just document and date when you received either in-kind or any kind of other funding on this sheet, and then you submit it. What this will do is this just is kind of like your affidavit saying that, yes, this is what I received. You keep all the other documentation, but I do need this to document that you do have the match. Match documentation, we want to make sure that we keep a record of this. And so in iGrants, on the competitive application on page 2, down at the very bottom, where you uploaded any kind of letters of support, this is where you're going to go ahead and upload your templates. So you can turn them in all at once. You can give me one every month. But you're going to need to have the match before Fiscal will process the claim. Couple things about this. I am the only grant that has this open. So you don't need to ask for permission to have this open in iGrants. I'm the only grant that has this section open for you to upload. The other part of that is that it doesn't notify me. So I go in and check every month to see if there's any match in there. Please follow the claim submission guidelines in the grant management. So there's one day every month, usually around the 20th, that they pay out those claims. Okay. Some of you have already done budgets, some of you have not. So I want to encourage you to go in and create your budget. So underneath the budget tab, you'll create a new budget. And then go ahead and when you get in here, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you go to the calculator for your indirects. There, at the very beginning, they weren't doing indirects. We had to have the programmers go in and fix this. So it actually said on the rate cap, it said 0. So if you're having any problems with that, please let me know so I can have them fix it. I think they've got it done. But if there's any questions on that, check here, let me know. what we'd like to do is to get all the money encumbered. And so as soon as you can, if you can create that budget, that would be great. So any questions now before we go on to the evaluation? So what we're doing is asking for a baseline, midterm, and final. The baseline is going to be really important for us because what that does is that allows me to disseminate your information to the ESDs who will be supporting those areas so they can see how they can support you and fit you into what they're doing for the grant. So that date is October 1. And then you are going to be creating your indicators, your goals. So it's up to you to decide what you want to measure, but what we would really like is to measure student growth or teacher growth. One of those two should be part of this. Otherwise, if we have problems with getting started, just let me know. If you're going to start a little later or you need some help with these dates, just let me know. And I'm happy to work with you on that. I do have a guideline document that I'll be sending you. It just talks a little bit about grants. It has like SMART goals in it. It has a table. I know you guys know how to do this, but there are some smaller districts who haven't received this grant before and aren't used to writing an evaluation. So there's a little bit of help in that. I'll be sending that out with the PowerPoint. So again, what the ESD, part of the ESD is working on creating regional computer science PLCs to help with the leadership of computer science in your district. I wanted to just encourage you to reach out to your ESD, or we can reach out to Andrew here. His information's on the screen. Our very first PLC meeting is on October 29th. And the nice thing about this is that we meet as a state. So part of the meeting is on a Zoom, and we have all 9 ESDs as part of those beginning of the meetings before we do our local work. Again, this is just 3 meetings every year, but it's also to help support you as you move forward with the grant. So again, the first step in getting some support from your ESD is definitely giving us that baseline report. We really want to take a look at what's going on in those regions and how that support can help you in completing your grant, or if you need help with issues or concerns, they can help as well as myself. So a couple things that were under the requirements that were here, and that's as needed, you know, invite me to come into your events, let me know what's going on and ways that I can support you. Anything that I can do, I'm happy to travel to your district, to your school, and visit any kind of event that you might have. I don't usually request to come to districts unless there's something going on that I heard about and I think might be beneficial to the state. I might ask you if I could visit and let you decide what your time frame is for that. But I'd love to be involved in any way in supporting and participate in some of that work you're doing. Every once in a while we get a request for a presentation on what's going on with the grants. usually from like the Governor's STEM Alliance. They'll ask if we have somebody who can present on their work, and usually they have a focus that they're looking at. So you might receive a request to see if you're available to do a presentation. Again, provide me the baseline, midterm, and final reports. And again, make sure that the word impacts student or teacher growth. Some way show us how that's measured. That's really important because that's what the legislators are looking at and hoping to continue funding for computer science. This really helps show them what's happening and where the money is going. So that would be great. So at this time, if you have any questions, these are your contacts. You can connect with me. I'm happy to work with you, support you in any way I can. So questions? Everybody is very, very quiet. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and end this. If you do and you want to connect with me, just go ahead and email me, and I will be sending out information on the recording, the PowerPoint, some of the other documents that are there. So thank you, and I hope to be talking with you soon.